Hey, I know the Muffin Man, and last week I spent a lot of time doing the new stuff that came out in Season 3, and I had a blast. I really enjoyed myself, and I'll start by talking about the new Rage Manaforge Omega, which I think is just incredible. It looks amazing, and getting into it is cool as heck. I love the way that they set this up. All the visuals in the raid are incredible. I think every single detail is amazing, and I spent just so much time oohing and awing around every corner while I was in there. I loved going outside to fight the Soul Hunters, that's a cool area, and I love the area after Fractalus where you're fighting on the platforms in the sky. That just feels very Netherstorm meets Star Wars. The boss fights overall are a lot of fun. I'm not sure if I have a favorite boss yet, but I definitely don't have a least favorite boss. My guild was able to clear up to the second last boss on normal, and then we switched it to heroic and got about halfway done. Forge Weaver gave us the most struggle, specifically that suck-in phase in the end. I kind of liked the progression on that boss though, because each pull it felt like we learned something new and did things better, and then we ended up just getting 2 healers to swap to DPS and they carried us to victory, but we had to go through a few under 5% wipes for that though. 30 people in a raid though is a little bit tough on my FPS though, and it felt like I was watching a PowerPoint presentation, so that was a little bit unfortunate. Would have been nice to experience the bosses with a smoother frame rate, but man, even with that, I still cannot stop gushing over this raid. I thought the Galagio and Undermine was cool, but this entire raid blows that specific part out of the water. It is just so cool, and like I said, this is my favorite aesthetic in the game, and if this raid is an indication of some of the themes we can look forward to in Midnight, that may end up being one of my favorite expansions just off visuals alone. So very excited to be in Koresh and this new raid for the next little bit. And I'm curious as to what you think with your first week in Manaforge Omega. I was also doing some dungeons on my warrior. I was able to get to a rating of 1715, which is the highest rating I've gotten this expansion just in the first week alone. I was able to do every dungeon at least once and timed it at a 2 because I just wanted a refresher just to remember what the mechanics were with low pressure. And overall it was fine. I love the first few weeks of a season because getting into groups as DPS is pretty quick. There was a 2 Arakara that I did on stream, which was just a disaster. Everyone was 680 plus, and I thought it would be fine. And then, yeah, even on stream said that item level doesn't necessarily mean skill though. And sure enough, it was just awful. We died 40 times before we finished the dungeon. It was just bad. The highest key I did time was a 9 Priory, which again, the first time this expansion where I've done keys that high this early. My goal this week is going to be to just keep doing higher keys, and I would like to get to a 2K rating this week. I don't think that'll be necessarily that hard if I have the time to play. And then just working towards those 10s. I kind of focused on just getting the 8 dungeons that I needed for the vault, and then didn't play a whole lot. I think I did maybe 10 dungeons total this week. I didn't want to really overdo it. So I'll continue doing that and just hoping to get as much gear as I can. Before reset, I did a couple of Mythic Zeros on my Paladin last week so I could get a vault option. I was a bit nervous doing Halls of Atonement because I haven't done it since Shadowlands and never as a tank, and I usually just follow the route I see other tanks do when I play my warrior. And I was kind of just winging it, and I think overall it went relatively fine. We had a few wipes that weren't my fault, so that wasn't too bad. But then I also did an M0 on my Shaman before reset, and it was just awful. Like, everyone was taking so much damage all the time, and I just kept spamming my heals again and just wondering, what are you taking damage from? The tank was also overpulling, and then partway through, I just went from being stressed and anxious to just straight up annoyed. I'm trying to heal people, but they refuse to help me, so whatever. If you die, you die. It just really made me not want to play a healer for a bit because it was so frustrating. The new season also brought delves, which I did on my warrior. I did my 3 tier 11s for the crests, which will be a good thing for at least a few weeks to help cap out on those. I'm saving up for my crafted weapon upgrade as that costs 90 crests and will have a huge boost for me. Once I did those 3, I went back to tier 8s and then just did 8 delves to max out my vault options this week. Once I don't need delve gear from vaults anymore, I'll do more delves per week, still at tier 8 to level Bran, but just like last season, once Bran is max level, I'll just be spamming tier 1s for achievements. I think the portal rooms that they added are really cool. I think I've experienced all of them at this point, and I think it's a great way to get a delve done quicker, and it's a fun little mix-up to what we're used to. My favorite is probably the room with the orb walls that you have to dodge. It's pretty simple, but a lot of fun. And just overall, I think this is a great change to delves, and I appreciate Blizzard constantly iterating with each patch on not only the stories in the delves themselves, like adding new NPCs and whatnot, but also now this change. I think it was in Kriegwald's Rest where I had a portal that was very quick to finish, and I was able to go from like 1/3 done the delve to completely done in a matter of minutes. And it was just awesome. It's a nice little surprise where I don't have to do an entire delve that I'm not really a fan of. And then on stream, I decided to try out Nexus-Princess Ky'veza, and I did that on the first difficulty successfully. And it was so much fun. I loved progressing on this. It is so much better than Underpin that I'm actually now even more mad about how Underpin was. Ky'veza is pretty simple. It's just about doing mechanics right. It's easy to wipe though if you do any of them wrong, which I can see being annoying for some people because one-shot mechanics can be pretty frustrating. I'm looking forward to doing this on the harder difficulty, which I tried a few times on stream as well, just to see the mechanics, and it is definitely harder. There's a lot more precise play that's required. So I'm going to let myself get more gear and brand levels and then come back and try that. But overall, I'm very happy with this boss and being able to feel progression with each pull and then being able to tie it all together until I got it right. But before all that content was consumed, there was a vault on my warrior I had to open. It had a few good options. It had champ shoulders with haste mastery that I could take by themselves or catalyze later. And then I also had a heroic sword with haste mastery that was also better than both weapons that I had. There was also a head tier piece that I could take as well. I simmed everything and the weapon was better, and I'm not really sure if tier is better. To be honest, I don't really care. I'm going to get all this gear eventually, and I don't want to spend more time figuring out which item for sure is the best to take right this second versus a better upgrade later down the line. I just went with what simmed better and what had my best stats, so I took the weapon and then upgraded it. I had a couple more upgrades from dungeons throughout the week as well, and I was able to upgrade my item level by 4.5, so I'm ending the week at 684. On my Paladin, I actually jumped up 11.5 item levels, so I'm ending at 661.3. I got the cloak and upgraded it to 714. I got a weapon from a world quest and upgraded it to 665. I got a ring and trinket from dungeons that I upgraded as well, and then I got a belt from my vault, which is annoying because why would they do that? And then on my Shaman, I just got the Reshi Wrap's cloak, which was such a big enough upgrade that I got 6 more item levels, so I'm ending at 656.4. And then just really quick, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about a bot that I ran into in Iceground while I was farming herbs and ore on my hunter, and I reported them, and my hunter actually got some mail this week that said that actions were taken with this report that I had made. I assume that account was either suspended or banned, and I doubt that person will be impacted a lot. They'll likely just open a new account. But it does feel nice knowing that I made that person have to do that. And I like that Blizzard sends these messages to let me know that my report actually resulted in an action and didn't just get thrown into the void that no one cares about. But from there, let's end off with some achievements and mounts. Starting with mounts, I got the Delver's Mana Skimmer, which is the Season 3 Delve mount. And then for 10 untethered coin, I bought the Lavender Karok. This mount is very, very ugly. For achievements, I only got 50 more points, so I'm ending at 47,200. I finished off all of the Archival Assault Delve stories. I got Moonlighter, which is to complete 2 warrant quests in Koresh, and then just the Manaforge Omega raid achievements to kill the bosses. But that is it for me. That's everything that happened to me last week and all the things that I wanted to talk about. Let me know what happened in your week. How did Season 3 start for you? What do you think of the new raid, the new dungeons, the new delves? Or maybe you're playing the Battlefield 6 beta or anything else outside of the game. Let me know down below in the comments. Anything and everything. I would love to read about it. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more because there is plenty to come. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I love you lots. So thanks for watching. Have yourself a lovely week. I will talk at you next week. Love you lots. Have fun.